Hi everyone. In today's demo, we're going to be talking through CLM Plus to generate an ISDA agreement and also send it for approvals. Today's demo specifically will be focusing on how we can get those interim and final approvals for our ISDA-based scenario. This can also be applied to any scenario in CLM that does require approvals, not just limited to ISDA agreements. Later in the demo, we'll then be taking a look at Insight and how we can use Insight to leverage and give us benefit within CLM. So to kick off, what I'm going to do is log into CLM. This will take me to my homepage here, which is just my folder structure. And then it's reached a point where I'm ready to generate an ISDA agreement. So I'm going to go to my Actions button and click Generate ISDA. From here, this will open up into a function, what we call document generation. The first step is to complete the form. So here you'll see that some fields have a red asterisk. This means it must be populated in order for me to move forward to the next step. I've then got some fields that are specific to the agreement, like the schedule type, whether that's a single counterparty or joint and several. Throughout, you'll also see that if I click on certain fields, such as joint and several, it will open up to further fields or open up to specific conditions that I need to populate. At this point, I'm going to proceed with a single counterparty. Here I've got some fields pre-populated. Sometimes we can use different CRM systems or other systems to pull that data from. For example, if you store your counterparty details in another system, CLM can be used to integrate and grab that data. Most commonly, we see that with Salesforce or SAP Ariba, systems like that. Proceeding through this demo, what I'm going to do then is there any details specific to this ISDA? Is there credit support? Yes or no. If I click no, you'll see that section disappears. If I click yes, then we can see what type it is, and I can select various different options, which again will open up further fields. In cases where we see a little info bubble, this is essentially help text for your user. So this is going to give me some information to help me populate that field. From there, I'm going to select my credit support type, then my termination currency. And then what we have is this final section with our clauses. So here we're utilizing a clause library to say, okay, what is my specified entity? What is my cross default? And this enables your users to go through and make a selection pretty quickly without having to do much work. Same for threshold amount. There's different ways we can display this. For example, in this clause, we need the user to enter the threshold amount. So it gives them the flexibility to edit that clause and type in a value if they need to, as opposed to selecting the standard, non-standard language. From there, I'm just going to go through and populate a few more fields. And then in this final section, we have the ability to attach or tack on any ancillary documents. So if I also want to include my boilerplate or my counterparty guarantee, I can click that checkbox and attach those as needed. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and click Next. Once I click Next, what's happening now is all of that data I've just typed in or I've just selected is now being inserted into my ISDA agreement. And here as an end user, I can go through and see, yeah, party names inserted, Acme Corporation has been inserted. My different clauses that I selected here, we can see are now highlighted in blue just to show what's happening there. And it's up to me as the negotiator in this example to review, make sure everything looks good before proceeding. If I'm happy with this preview, I can go ahead and click Next. Or if there's still like a couple edits I want to make, anything like that, I can go back and forth as many times as I need to until I'm happy with this preview. At this point, I am happy, so I'm going to go ahead and click Next. What this does is now generate my agreement. It creates that first draft of our ISDA agreement within a matter of minutes. And it's now going to launch my predefined workflow process in the background. So in this scenario, what I'm going to do is, let's say we've taken our negotiations with the counterparty offline. They've made a couple of revisions. And then what I'm going to do is launch that approval process within CLM to see how that looks. At this point in the demo, I'm gonna upload the agreements that I'm gonna send for interim approval. So what I'm gonna do is, let's say the counterparty sent me the agreement back. They've got their red lines on it. I'm gonna open that up. Then what I'm gonna do is select the approval groups that I want to take a look at it. In this demo, let's say we're gonna send to credit and tax. From there, I can make a comment and say, please look at the red lines. Or if I wanted to give them more details into it, I certainly could. In some cases, we notice that counterparties also send back reference documents, email attachments, anything that may be useful for your approvers at this point, you could also upload into this little box here. At this point, I've uploaded everything that my approvers need at this stage. So it's just going to build me now a little summary document output. Here I've got my summary of approvals so far, and I'm going to go ahead and hit complete. What will happen now is my agreement will now route to approval. So it's going to route to tax and credit. And this is where we can see the use of task groups come into play. So throughout CLM, you'll hear a lot about tasks and task groups. Tasks aren't anything that require you to action the document, but typically we see that this can be managed through groups. So your approval groups, for an example, you can see here that it can work like a queue. So there's a queue of agreements waiting for tax to look at. Anyone within that group can go in and complete those tasks. Starting off with credit first, we can see here they've been assigned a task. What they'll also receive is the email assigning them the task, so they can also grab it from their emails. I'm then going to just click on this task to open it. And then here we can see a couple of things. So first of all, we've got our summary document, which as we go through different rounds of approval, this summary document starts to grow. And then what I can also see is the uploaded agreement with its red lines that the counterparty has sent back to us. So here we can see there's quite a few red lines to go through and review. I can also see here on the left, the negotiator said, please review red lines. So my options here are to approve, approve with feedback, or reject. At this point, I'm going to approve with feedback, but ask for legal approval. Approved by credit, send to legal. What we can also do at our CLM tasks is make a comment, so I can highlight any text, add a comment, and I can mention someone, or I can mention that task group. Please review language. And that way legal know what we need them to review. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and hit complete. At this point, I'm then going to take my task as a tax user. Here, what I'll be able to see so far is, okay, well, credit have already reviewed it. They've approved it. They've made a comment for legal. But what we're also able to do is use DocuSign Insight to run an analysis on our agreements. So here we can see I'm running an analysis on my ISDA schedule. And what I expect this to do here is for my approvers in CLM, immediately give them the value to see what's at risk in their agreement, what's now at risk in this red line language that I need to concentrate on. And so I can see immediately I have two high risk clauses, both cross default and credit rating downgrade is not present. And so I can click through and see why this is a risk. So I can go in, look at the language, click show on document, and see here, okay, well, this is high risk. Then I can also see, well, there's also some items that are okay, such as specified transaction. So immediately I can go ahead and use this scorecard as an approver or anyone within CLM to help me make an informed decision at my tasks and also to help me speed up my approval time. Immediately I can see the risk instead of having to review the agreement quite heavily. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and click approved and make a comment, then hit complete. What will happen now is my agreement will route back to the negotiator. So what I'm going to do is change my group to my negotiator queue. What I can see now is that my interim approval has completed, but what's also happened in the background is I'm also receiving emails here to tell me it's been completed and I can click to review and that's going to bring me directly into the task. So it's not expected in CLM at any point that you're sitting waiting for your task to come through. You'll always be notified of the outcome. Immediately, we can see here that my summary document has updated and I can see that tax has completed their approval, they've approved, and credit has approved with feedback. They want me to send it to legal. So now what I would expect is I'm now going to send for another round of approval to send to legal. I can also go into the agreement itself and see those comments and see what's happening here as well. At this point, I'm going to hand this demo over to Summer, who will be showing you how we can use Insight with our ISDA agreements.
Today, I'll be walking through a demonstration of how DocuSign Insight combined with a Power BI dashboard can streamline the ISDA contract management process. When it comes to over-the-counter derivatives, organizations manage hundreds or even thousands of ISDA master agreements and related credit support annexes. These contracts define key commercial and credit terms, including counterparty exposure, events of default, cross-default triggers, and collateral thresholds. Manually reviewing these agreements is time-consuming and prone to error, especially when assessing how provisions like specified entity, cross-default, or credit downgrade language differ across counterparties. Today, I'll show you how we can unlock and visualize this valuable data using DocuSign Insight's AI-powered contract analytics integrated with Power BI to deliver greater control, transparency, and efficiency in managing ISDA portfolios. Let's start with the BI dashboard, which provides dynamic visual reporting based on the metadata extracted by AI models in DocuSign Insight. For today's demo, we're looking at a sample set of 7 publicly sourced ISDA master agreements. However, this setup can scale to hundreds or even thousands of contracts in production. As you can see, the dashboard offers an interactive portfolio-level view of your ISDA data, highlighting where key contractual terms appear, how they differ across agreements, and where risk concentrations or missing clauses may exist. For example, if I want to identify which counterparties include a cross-default clause referencing a specified transaction, I can simply select that filter in the relevant pie chart, like so. The dashboard immediately narrows the view to those agreements, and from here, I can drill into the cross-default details and extracted language by simply clicking a link to open the document directly in DocuSign Insight for a deeper review. All of this is powered by AI-driven metadata extracted at a document level. Insight structures and categorizes the data, while the dashboard visualizes it to give a macro-level understanding of your ISDA portfolio. Together, this provides risk and legal teams with the ability to identify exposure patterns, exceptions, and clauses that may require remediation, all in the matter of seconds. Now let's take a look behind the dashboard at the engine driving it, DocuSign Insight. Here in the document view, we're looking at standard schedule to an ISDA master agreement. On the left-hand side, you will see a customized view of AI models tailored to a ISDA documentation. DocuSign Insight comes with a library of pre-configured models, but it also allows you to build fully customized models to target firm-specific clauses or negotiated language. In this example, we've configured models for specified entity, specified indebtedness, specified transaction, cross-default, threshold amount, and credit downgrade. You'll notice some models include _YN in their naming convention. This represents a customized yes or no output, indicating whether relevant language has been identified. For instance, here we can see quickly if specified entity language is present, followed by the extracted text for each subtopic that the AI has intelligently surfaced based on semantic indexing. This allows the AI to extract language that is specific to the schedule of the ISDA master agreement. Insight also includes a jump to functionality, allowing us to click on the extracted text and navigate directly to that clause within the agreement. Beyond text, the platform can extract numerical values, such as the threshold amounts, enabling teams to easily validate collateral requirements and exposure limits across counterparties. We can see similar extractions for cross-default and identifying specified transactions which are linked to the default rights. All critical data for regulatory reporting, collateral optimization, or counterparty risk assessment. All of these AI models can be pre-configured or custom built, allowing clients to tailor extraction rules to their own templates, annexes, and negotiated variations. So now let's move over to the compare view where we can analyze multiple ISDA agreements side by side. Here we have 7 documents displayed in the columns, with the model outputs listed along the left-hand side. This lets us instantly compare provisions across counterparties. For example, we can identify credit downgrade triggers, like so. If I want to drill into a specific agreement to review its threshold amount or specified entity details, I can simply click View, and this will directly bring us back to the document viewer. Once the review and model validations are complete, the extracted data flows seamlessly into Power BI or any other downstream system for continuous monitoring and reporting. Together, DocuSign Insight and Power BI provide an integrated AI-driven solution for ISDA contract management, reducing manual review time, improving risk visibility, and enabling faster data-informed decisions across your derivatives portfolio.